Hey guys, special video for you today. We're going to be analysing Mark Minervini's trades from the 1997 US Investing Championship. He released them on Twitter a couple of days ago, so I've gone and found the charts of the companies which are still traded, and I have his entries and exits loaded up on 16 of those charts. So I'm going to be showing you his entries and his exits, but I thought I would turn it into a little quiz as well, so you can play along and you can guess whether you thought it'd be a winner or a loser. So please do comment down below how many you get right, guessing whether it was a winner or a loser out of the 16 trades. Now if you stay till the end as well, there is a special finding that I have discovered as well. When I analyzed his trades, there is a thing that showed up, which I will explain at the end of the video, which had a 100% success rate. Whenever this happened, his trade was successful. So I'm going to be sharing that with you at the end of the video. So hopefully you're really gonna enjoy this video. You're gonna learn a lot as well. It's going to be engaging, going to be as a quiz. Okay, please do subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. If you enjoy them, press the like button, because then I know to make more of these kind of videos. And as I said, leave me a comment for how well you get on. Remember, there's 16 trades we're going to be looking at, and also if you enjoy the video. So let's get on into it. And before we get into the first one, I wanted to show you the post, and these are this list here is where I've been able to get the stocks from, which lists his entries, okay, and also his exits, whether it was a winner or a loser, so the percentage gain. Remember, so the prices that I show on the charts are going to be split adjusted, so they're not going to be the same prices, okay, as Minervini was buying and selling them at. The percentage is still the same, but remember, it's split adjusted. So the very key findings here as well were the percentage returns in terms of the risk versus reward as well. The average gain 33.9%, okay, with the average loss 6.3%. That was a gain loss ratio of over 5, nearly 5.5 there, 5.4. So that's absolutely fantastic. And the batting average was just over 50%, 50.3, which is very, very good. You can see the average days held gain, 84 days, average days held loss, 19 days. So these statistics are obviously fantastic, and this is what produced a 155% return. So this is where I've been taking the stocks from. And this is how it's going to look in terms of you guessing. So I have blanked out the name of the stock, okay, up here and here, these yellow boxes, and we're going to go through like this. And so you're basically trying to guess, was this a winner or was this a loser? So of course you can pause the video, take a guess, and then I'll reveal the answer on the next slide. So this one here, what do you think, a winner or a loser? So remember, pause the video, okay, before we move on. So let's reveal the answer here. And this was a big winner. Now I wanted to start with this one. You can see his entry here, and as I was saying, it's split adjusted, okay, so the price that he was buying at is not going to be the price here, but that is the price that I've taken from here, and the percentage gain is still exactly the same. So he made a 50% return on this one, and I actually wanted to start off here with my favorite trade of his from all the charts I could possibly find from the companies which are still publicly traded. This one here, IPO day, comes out, there's no real distributional characteristics coming through, gets really tight in here, really tight in the base. So the key things that I'm looking for, multiple tight candlesticks in the base, volume drying up, okay, and then on our breakout candlestick day itself, we should have the open pretty much as the low of the day, and then it's strong, a wide relative spread on increased volume, preferably our 30-day average or greater, ideally 150% or above. That's going to signal to us that yes, demand has become the dominant force, and then it should explode out of the gate. So you can see the stock hovers for 1, 2, 3 days, volume drying up, okay. This is what I call the boredom area. So it then absorbs supply and then gets out of the gate really strong on the increasing volume, and blue dots coming through as well. 50% gain in a couple of weeks, not bad. And a key thing here to keep an eye on is, do you see a blue dot on the relative strength line? This is a relative strength line that I've applied, okay. It wasn't around when Minervini was trading because TradingView wasn't around. This is free. Go on TradingView, type in my name, you'll be able to find it and start using it on your trade. So a blue dot On the relative strength, that tells us it's making a 52-week high. So this was obviously a fantastic trade. So I'm not going to talk as much as I just did for this one here. I just wanted to explain a little bit about some of the key things I'm looking for. And remember, comment down below how well you get on. So this is trade number 2. So you can see he's taking this one just before a breakout of the pivot, but maybe he's lowered the pivot line a little bit. I've actually got a drawing tool. So let's put this on here. Okay, you can see maybe he's just lowered the pivot a little bit in here. I think if I left click, it's gonna go onto the next slide because I just drew on the wrong monitor. So what do you think here? Big winner or a big loser? And this one here, let's roll it forward, was a winner. You can see that it pulled back in, okay, to the trading range, and then obviously got out really well. None of these candlesticks are overly threatening. Volume pretty much drying up in there as well. So a little pullback, okay, not enough for Minervini to be stopped out, and then you can see a decent gain there. Very, very climactic volume going on in here. Moving on to our next one. So this is trade number 3. So we can see here that price was tightening up. Okay, gets really, really tight in here. Our volume also drying up. Okay, what do you think here? Minervini was obviously taking it as a breakout through the pivot point. We can see that resulted in a little bit of a supply shoot. So what do you think? Did it then hold and kick on, or did it not? So let's go on to our next slide and find out. So you can see here, this one was a loser. The stock pulls back into the base in here, which was enough to stop Minervini out at a 7.5% loss, but he still controlled the loss there very, very well indeed. But you could see this supply shoot here. So obviously on the intraday time frame, there was some decent volume coming through as well after price got very, very tight. Okay, so this was obviously powering out on the intraday time frame above the pivot point here, identified of $6.81. Okay, so it's powering out here, okay, and then obviously it pulls back in. And I would say here, you see how this relative strength is in a slight kind of decline. Let me get my drawing tool here. Can you see that, how this relative strength? I'm trying to teach you as well in this video. See how that relative strength is in the context of a downtrend, just something to keep an eye on there. Let's go on to the next one, which is trade number 4. So what do you think on this one? Big winner, loser, what do you think? Okay, we potentially got a cup and handle type pattern forming. I think it was William O'Neill's birthday yesterday, the day after I'm filming this video. William O'Neill's favorite pattern was obviously the cup with handle. Minervini attended a lot of Bill O'Neill's events as well. So what do you think here? Do you think it was a big winner? Do you think it was a big loser? It's getting pretty tight within this handle. We've got our volume drying up within there as well. So 3, 2, 1, let's reveal the answer. Big winner on this one. So you can see that nice cup with handle pattern. Okay, and then breaking out, and your best breakout trades are going to explode out of the gate. So this was a really nice gain there. You can see 57.5% gain, so very, very good in there. And then the stock did actually then kick on even more as well, going from the entry of about $45 up to, what's that, $130 region. So obviously really good, and it all comes from this cup with handle pattern in here. So really, really good in there, and as I was saying, very tight on the handle. And then you can see these blue dots coming through on the relative strength afterwards. This is always a very good sign indeed. Okay, so trade number 5. So just thinking on this one here, maybe missed this one on the entry date here. He got it the day after it was breaking out of the pivot point there. So it's the day after. There is some volume coming through. Okay, so what do you think on this one in terms of this base? Potentially a kind of cup with handle pattern. You could probably backdate it to here as well. So price volatility from left to right is diminishing, kind of tightens up here on this final pullback as well. So what do you think? Is this one a big winner or a big loser? Let's have a look. So this one here was Disney, okay, and it was a loser. It got out and then it pulled back in, so maybe the market was also under some pressure here. So we took a small loss of 1.2%. So we obviously controlled the risk very, very well there. There is a blue dot on the relative strength, okay, for the entry candlestick, but there's not for that breakout candlestick above the pivot point the day prior. So something to note there. Let's go on to number 6 now. So this is trade number 6. So let's have a look at this one. This is more, I would say, of that classic kind of VCP, volatility contraction pattern that he is looking to trade. It kind of tightens up in here. So what are you thinking? Volume's also kind of drying up within the base a little bit as well. There's some higher volume on that day, the day prior, so maybe some hidden supply there. Maybe it can be absorbed. So what do you think on this one? This is more of a classic VCP. So let's reveal the answer on this one. And this one here, you can see it pulled back into the base, but then it explodes out of the gate really well. Decent gain here of 20.9%. Remember, his average holding period in terms of days, I think, if my memory serves me correct, was about 84 days, and his average loss around 19 days. So very, very key there. He's holding these for a decent move as well, and targeting the optimal ratios in terms of being able to compound money. Also, what I refer to as the Goldilocks zone. So very, very good trade in there. Let's go on to our next one, which is number 7. So what are you thinking on this one? We can see that the stock is in a previous powerful uptrend. We can see little kind of cup with handle pattern getting very tight in there. Volume also drying up. You can see that decent volume coming through on the breakout. Nice entry candlestick as well. Look at where the open is. Look at where the low is. Blue dot on our relative strength line. Okay, that's indicating a 52-week high. So what do you think on this one? Big winner or a big loser? Let's reveal the answer. Okay, this one here was a gain. He had a gain of 8.1%. As you can see, price did then pull back, test the pivot point, and then it gets out really well. There's kind of another entry on this candlestick in here potentially as well. Decent volume coming through on it as well. What I really like here, okay, on his entry is look at the dry up in volume. Okay, in here, multiple tight candlesticks, volume drying up, blue dot relative strength, good volume coming through on the breakout. No clear signs of distribution really on the way up. Sure, there's some supply coming to the market, okay, earlier on in this base as we see here, but everything then calms down as the base progresses for this little kind of VCP cup with handle pattern. So a good winner there. Trade number 8. Let's move on to this one. So what are you thinking here? Big winner or a big loser? We can see stock, previous uptrend, blue dots coming through on that relative strength, pulling back here, coming back. So potentially some form of kind of cup and handle VCP type pattern forming in here. So what do you think? Big winner or a big loser? Let's have a look. This one here was a winner. It kind of stalled out of the gate. There was obviously some overhead resistance to contend with, as you can see that I'm circling here. And I wouldn't say price really kind of tightened up in that really tight VCP kind of fashion. So I think in this here, where it was kind of a little bit choppy, it pulled back under the pivot point. I think that's because there's definitely some supply in here to kind of absorb, but then you can see it gets out the gate okay. It's a smaller gain of 8.5%, and he obviously sold it here, this kind of change of character behavior before it pulled back for a larger move. So he was protecting his gain on that one. So again, hopefully you're enjoying this video. Remember, subscribe, like, leave me a comment down below how you are getting on as well. If you like these videos and subscribe, then I know to make more of these kind of videos. So it's very important you do that. So this one here, relatively recent IPO. This is trade number 9. So we can see this kind of base that gets built. There's a little, can you see this little breakout in here? Little cup and handle kind of breakout after it gets nice and tight in here, volume drying up as well. And now we're potentially going into our breakout. So what are you thinking on this one here? You thinking big winner or a big loser? Let's reveal the answer. And this one here was a loser, as you can see. So although it is tightening up, I would say on this one, I've just found this in my own kind of trading as well. Can you see how this one is wedging up? As I've just drawn there with this red line, you see that how it's kind of wedging up. I call this running into the breakout. So I personally try and avoid them. To me, they're just going to be more kind of prone to failure. I actually like that final contraction, okay, to be very, very tight sideways, slightly drifting down as well. So this is running up a little bit. You can see it got out for a couple of days and then pulled back, and he took a 7% loss on this one. But you can obviously see that consistency of the risk management, taking no big losses. So this one here, okay, what are you thinking? Trade number 10. This is a decent move. The stock is obviously in that confirmed phase 2 uptrend that he's looking for. This is probably earnings related, where we have loads of volume coming through, nice powerful gap up. Okay, coming down here, we can start to see how the share price is really tightening up over here. Volume also drying up. There's a little gap up within the base on good volume coming through. Okay, you can see that where I'm circling in here. So this is what I would say is more of that kind of classic VCP, volatility contraction pattern, where the volatility is really contracting in that kind of final quarter, final fifth of the base, and we have that nice sideways consolidation. So what are you thinking on this one? Big winner or a big loser? This one here was a big winner, 23% gain. He took it in here. You can see the stock gets out really well, starts declining. So he was taking his profit in here at a 23.4% gain. And this one here had a much tighter kind of pivot. Okay, so better to control the risk. Comes back down, tests the pivot, but it gets out really, really well. So you can, it's very nuanced, but I would say there's a difference here between this one and the last one. The last one's kind of wedging up into the breakout, whereas this is able to trend sideways and then break out through that pivot point. So very nuanced, but that's how I would be kind of interpreting those ones. Okay, trade number 12 is the next one. So what do you think here? Big winner or a big loser? Okay, we can obviously see that volatility is contracting in here, especially over here. Look how tight this gets. Generally, we have that volume drying up. Nice blue dot on our relative strength. So I would say this is more of that kind of cup with handle pattern, or more classic kind of VCP, where we see the volatility really contracting, okay, underneath a pivot point. So I also like here as well, look at this volume coming through to propel this stock up here. Okay, we have that volume coming through, gets very, very tight in this region. As I said, volume drying up as well. So what do you think here? Big winner or a big loser? Let's have a look. Big winner, this one, okay, 34.7% gain. It kind of hovers around the pivot point and then gets out really well. I love that blue dot on our relative strength. All of this volume coming through. Nice big base being built in here as well. Big cup and handle type pattern with that volatility contracting from left to right, and especially in that final third, okay, final quarter of the base, it's contracting. That is a great sign. So hopefully you're doing well. Remember, comment down below, let me know how you are getting on. Let's go on to trade number 13 here. So what are you thinking? We can see that kind of cup and handle pattern developing. Here's the handle starting to tighten up, volume declining in the handle as well. So what are you thinking on trade number 13? You thinking big winner or a loser? Let's have a look. This one here was a loser. He took a 7% loss. So again, if you're watching this video, okay, his control of risk is obviously phenomenal. No big losses, and his gains are much larger than his average loss. So this one here is a cup and handle pattern. So I'd be looking at it, and again, it's getting very tight within the base here. You can see though, do you see how it's a nuanced point, but do you see how it's running up here into the breakout? Okay, it's just kind of wedging up there. Again, I try and avoid those wherever possible. But it is a cup and handle pattern, but I've just seen they are more prone to failure when they wedge up, which hopefully this video is helping you in kind of looking at that as well. So looking at this one here, relatively recent IPO, so trade number 14, gets out the gate really well. Okay, and then we start to see it building a base. We have blue dots coming through in our base in here. Volume on that breakout bar, I know it's hard to see because it's skewed by this very large volume bar on our IPO day, but the volume is around about the 30-day average on the breakout. So what are you thinking here on trade number 14? Big winner or a big loser? Let's have a look at this one. You can see this one here, it got out and then rolled back over, and he took a 4.5% loss. And again, I'd say this one here, can you see how this is just wedging up into the breakout? You see that? Again, it's very kind of subtle, very nuanced, but this move here, it's just kind of wedging up. So it's kind of a bit of a common theme here that we've seen with the losing trades, that they are wedging up into the breakout. I personally try and avoid those ones. His stats were still good. I'm not kind of slagging him off or anything like that. I'm just giving you kind of post analysis of if I was looking at these and looking at my own trades, I'd be spotting that actually, okay, yeah, my losing trades are kind of running up here into the breakout like this. So I probably want to try and avoid those. Okay, let's go on to our next one, which is number 15. So we've got this one, then we have one more left. So looking at this one here, what are you thinking? Potential kind of cup and handle type pattern developing in here with our pivot point volume drying up within our base here as well is a good sign, and also within the handle, okay, prior to the breakout. I like to identify multiple type candlesticks before breakout, so we're identifying that, okay, in here within the handle as well. So what are you thinking here? Big winner or a big loser? He was obviously entering just through the pivot point on this day here. So let's have a look. Okay, so you can see here from this cup with handle breakout, okay, gets really nice and tight in here. He takes the trade just through the pivot point, pulls back, holds the pivot point, and then gets out really well on some decent volume. And you can see a gain there of 17.8%, and it does continue to power up even more as well, which is obviously very good. He sold a lot of his stocks. You'll notice this as well if you look back at that the date, he sold a lot of his stocks on the 18th of August. So I don't know what his thinking was there, whether he thought there was a development in the market and there was going to be a larger pullback. I don't know. But he sold a lot of his stocks on the 18th of August, or the middle of August as well, which is interesting. Okay, but nice cup and handle pattern. And do you see this sideways drift here within the handle? Do you see how that stock drifts sideways in there? Okay, rather than wedging up, it's just that nice sideways drift. Really, really nice trade in there. And let's go on to our final one. So remember, comment down below, let me know how many you got right out of 16. If you get over 10, I think that is very, very good going indeed. So this one here, what are you thinking? We can obviously see price running up. Okay, and then it starts tightening up in this base, a mini kind of cup and handle VCP. Remember, VCP is a characteristic of the pattern, so it's a cup of handle pattern displaying VCP characteristics. You can see that volume pretty much dries up in there as well. Multiple tight candlesticks, okay, prior to the entry. Decent volume coming through on the entry candlestick. So potentially, what do you think on this one here? Let's reveal the answer. And this one here was a loser. He actually took the trade, so intraday it broke out through the pivot point, and then you can see that he took a 6.6% loss on the same day. So this was obviously one, okay, if you think about the intraday time frame, if here's our pivot point and we were say on, let's say we're on the 15-minute chart, okay, it obviously opened up strong like this and then came back down and reversed, okay, and maybe closed kind of here-ish. It actually closed just by the pivot point. So he was obviously taking his trade in here, had a stop loss set, okay, around here, which then got triggered, and then it reversed again. It's kind of part of trading, part of life, but he saved himself obviously a much bigger loss by having that control of risk management. So there are the 16 trades. Now I said I was going to show you the key findings, so I'm going to show you the key findings here. And also please do comment down below, like the video, subscribe. Okay, really trying to grow this channel and help you improve your breakout trading. So okay, what I'm going to explain here is breakouts through the pivot point, okay, making a relative strength 52-week high, had a 100% success rate. There were 3 of these, and each time it happened, okay, we could see that the trade was successful. Okay, if you want to go and look back, these trades were number 1, 7, and 12. Trade number 5 did have a blue dot on his entry, but that wasn't a blue dot on a breakout through the pivot point, so I didn't count it. So the key takeaway here is look for those blue dots on the relative strength. Okay, I've drawn it in here as well. Blue dots, relative strength. It's a free indicator on TradingView my team was able to build. Just search my name, Jack Corsellis, RS line. You'll find it. You can use it. So again, it will really help you trade from those better structures, the most optimal ones. If I go back here, okay, this is the first one we looked at. Look at this. This is absolutely just perfect. VCP characteristics, nice and tight, sideways consolidation, okay, in this region in here, volume drying up, pop up in volume on our breakout, and that blue dot coming through on the relative strength, 50% in the space of a couple of weeks. So I hope you guys have really enjoyed that video. Okay, please do subscribe, like the video, comment down below how many you got right out of 16. I think anything over 10 is very, very good, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. You want to go and learn a little bit more about me, my trading, there are links down below. There's also links to my free beginners trading academy that you can join too. Loads of content in there. You just need an email address to sign up, and I look forward to seeing all of you in a future video.